What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? This is Ghost Girl 007 here, and today's video is going to be a ghost story. A ghost story? Ignore that. It's actually going to be a haunted reads. Right now, we are reading Zach Bagans' book, I Am Haunted, Living Life Through the Dead by Zach Bagans. See? Right now, we are on chapter 15, page 126. Dolls. I hate them. So do I. Believe it or not, this is easily the hardest chapter of this book to write. So it won't be long. I hate dolls almost as much as I hate clowns, but for a different reason. When I'm around dolls, I can feel their eyes looking at me. And even though I know they're not human eyes, it makes me very anxious because I honestly believe that dolls can harbor spirits better than any other objects. To you, dolls may seem like harmless, intimate objects or playthings for children, but to me, they're vessels for spirits, and they scare me to the bone. I'm not alone here. Hollywood tends to depict dolls in evil, horrible forms. Think Chucky, Jigsaw, Blade, and the super nightmarish clown doll from Poltergeist. Of course, they're not real, but I look at them a little differently because I have a theory that dolls can store paranormal energy better than most intimate objects. There's one simple explanation for this. They've been loved. To a child who receives a doll as a gift, the doll is alive. It's everything to them. They name it, they nurture it, they dress it up and talk to it like a friend and take it everywhere. To the child, the doll is real, just like everyone else around them. Children put a lot of love and feeling into their dolls. And I believe that some dolls not only retain that emotion, but also become doorways for spirits to get back to the physical world. And a doll can become a nest for a spirit to roost in after it's crossed over. So when I see one, I don't see factory plastic and fake horsehair. I see a container that could be holding a spirit. This isn't an entirely new theory. Shapti dolls were ancient Egyptian figurines that accompanied the deceased to the afterlife to carry out specific duties. They've been found in tombs dating back as far as 1500 BC. Each one represents a worker to serve the dead after he left this world. Each doll was inscribed with a spell which outlined what that worker was supposed to do when he met or Isis or something like that, the god of the dead, and was asked to carry out his duty. So it was believed that the dolls actually crossed over with the person who died. In the present, every paranormal group I've ever seen uses dolls as a trigger object to attract child spirits. They do this because it's effective at encouraging a spirit to manifest, right? Maybe, but I think there's more to it. I don't think that using a doll brings a spirit closer. Instead, the doll attracts the spirit to possess it. The doll becomes a container for the spirit to get into and manipulate, like a person opening a car door, stepping in, and taking it for a spin. Dolls are not just trigger objects to attract spirits, but can actually carry spirits and even be possessed by them, and usually not the good type. When we filmed the Island of Dolls episode of Ghost Adventures, I knew that I was in for an unforgettable an uncomfortable emotional ride. On this island that lies between the canals of the south of Mexico City, there is a swamp where a little girl drowned under strange and disputed circumstances. A man named Don Julian Santana Beria, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, saw a floating doll in the canal and assumed that it belonged to the girl. He picked up the doll and hung it from a tree as a way of showing respect and supporting the spirit of the girl. But he didn't stop there. Don Julian hung thousands of dolls around the island for the little girl and believed that her spirit possessed them. After being there, I don't disagree. A local psychic medium said that a snake-like negative spirit was the cause of the girl's drowning. So many legends surround that ancient Aztec canal that I don't doubt it. It's a very scary place to go, whether you have a fear of dolls or not. If the girl's spirit is truly trapped on that island and all these dolls attract her, then I think other spirits can also be attracted to her, and the thousands of dolls as well. I believe that the spirits connect through the dolls, which basically makes this place my nightmare. Think about this. Who knows where Don Julian got all these dolls and what kind of love was given to them by their living hosts? For all we know, it could be a network of spirits there who seeks love from a human. Maybe the spirit possesses the dolls in order to find a kid who gives her love to a doll and in turn give her love to a spirit. So many possibilities for that episode. I brought along Harold, the haunted doll, to see if it could open up a connection with the spirit world with the spirit on the island. I totally regret it. This doll has been connected to death on several occasions and has bounced from family to family over the years, because no one wants to keep it. I'll never forget picking up that doll in Mexico and then feeling my arm start to itch like it was on fire. Not long after, I developed 3 bruises the size of fingerprints. On my left arm, the one that picked it up, the psychic medium had told us not to touch the doll or we could lose our own limbs, just like the doll was losing its left arm. We did anyway, go figure. When we took Harold out of his case, cats went crazy and other dolls suddenly started laughing with no electronic source at all. They laughed on a thermal camera. We documented unexplained heat coming off of Harold when we put him in a shed on the island. It was absolutely nuts. If anything from my travels gives me bad dreams, it's the Island of the Dolls and Harold the Haunted Doll. So this is what Harold the Haunted Doll looks like. Just thinking about this makes me feel uneasy, and talking about Harold and the island creeps me out like nothing else. That investigation is the most difficult one of my career to speak about. It's 40 degrees in Vegas as I'm writing this chapter, and I'm sweating. If you ever see me in public, don't pick a fight with me, because you'll get one. But come up to me with a bunch of dolls taped to your body and I'll run like a girl. Sounds like me. I'm done. These 3 little fingerprints bruises appeared on my arm after I picked up Harold. So, this is a picture of that. Pretty crazy, right? Really crazy. So we're done with that chapter, so we're going to move on to the next chapter. This chapter is 16, page 131. It's called weather. It's a bigger part of the paranormal than you think. I believe that when a person dies and his or her soul remains on earth for whatever reason, the soul becomes intertwined with the electromagnetic and the geomagnetic forces of the planet. Under the right conditions, these forces, along with certain weather events, can enable spirits to manifest and be seen by the living. Even with all the tools and data we have at our disposal, the weather can be unpredictable and trick us, just as the manifestation of spirits seems random and unpredictable. But it doesn't have to be. I believe that 2 are interconnected, and that just as we can predict the weather with a lot of accuracy, someday we will be able to predict apparitions and sightings. We just have to understand all the variables and be in the right place at the right time when all the facts line up. I hate to make this analogy, but if you remember the movie Ghostbusters, then you remember the green slime left behind the movie ghosts. Like those Hollywood ghosts, I think people leave behind a residual energy after an extremely emotional event, but it's more like a burn mark on a wood wall after a fire. This residue contains the emotions of the event, and certain meteorological conditions can reignite it. It's like a combination lock that's open when certain conditions are met. What is the combination of climatic conditions that opens this lock? That's the $1,000,000 question. When we investigate the old Charleston jail in Charleston, South Carolina, we captured the wails and cries of inmates who were tortured there. I believe this is the residue of their emotional lives and or deaths being unlocked under certain conditions. Think about the stone tape theory that I described in chapter 14, Carrying Spirits, which says that certain materials such as sandstone or silica, I don't know if I'm saying that right, can store life events and replay them the same way a cassette tape records and plays back music. The circumstances of release are usually consistent, meaning that the stone lets go of the event at certain times of day and maybe even under certain weather conditions. This theory has some validity when you consider that iron oxide is the main component of autotape. Iron oxide is everywhere, and the Earth's core is made mostly of iron and nickel. It also has been proven that certain crystals like quartz and silicon can retain information and are found almost everywhere, even within some rocks. Computer chips used to store data are made from silicon, which is the second most abundant element on the planet next to oxygen and is found in almost every form of rock. So it's not a stretch to imagine that certain natural materials can store traumatic and emotional events and release them when the conditions are right. Maybe it's the weather that unlocks these events that are stored in natural materials. When the barometric, pressure, humidity level, temperature, moon phase, and even running water, which increases electromagnetic activity, connects in the way I believe that the residue of someone's life can be released in the form of audio and visual presentation. Voices and apparitions could be triggered by environmental elements when they synchronize, possibly when they match up with the weather conditions that were present at the time of the emotional event, like the death of a loved one, of course. This would indicate that the residue is not intelligent spirit. It's only a moment of a life recorded by natural materials and released under certain conditions. It's a moment in time captured and played back like a cassette tape or computer chip. It's just stored energy unlocked by the weather. So how does the weather react with intelligent spirits? First, think about spirits and why they are here. I believe spirits that don't move on to the next life either didn't pass God's judgment or have unresolved issues that keep them earthbound. That means there's a connection between the paranormal and the weather that we need to decipher. This is a picture of Zach. Really enjoying the beach, it looks like. That means they're angry or confused and therefore want to be heard. They gather their energy to move objects and communicate, which sometimes mean that they attack humans to get the attention they crave. When they can't gather energy through electronic means like stealing energy from computers, light fixtures, camera equipment, or whatever, they turn to weather phenomenon to get the boost they need. I've seen this happen during investigations. Remember the attacks at the Exorcist house that I described in chapter 11, heart attacks? Nick and I had a spirit box session during which a voice present itself as Diablo, I don't like saying that, twice and gave us some other information in a short span of time. Shortly afterwards, Aaron went back into the room where we captured the voice and got very dizzy and felt intense heat. At the same time, Bill Chappell, who's an amazing engineer, monitored a sensor that measured weather data in the house, and he said that there was a sudden increase in humidity when this happened to Aaron. It was around dusk at a time of day when there should be a decrease in humidity, not an increase. We were baffled because a strange weather phenomenon was happening at the exact same time as paranormal activity, but we couldn't find the connection between the two. During other investigations, passing storms affected the level of paranormal activity we captured. I'll never forget when we were investigating the Hellsbar Dam in Tennessee and a massive storm raged through, bringing a tornado that tossed an entire dock full of boats onto the shore, and us along with them. That even we caught an amazing image of an apparition manifesting on a thermal imaging camera, a rare event. We capture voices, EVPs, orbs, and other paranormal paranormal activity all the time, but an apparition is unusual, and this one appeared within a few hours of a massive lightning storm. I believe that it's possible for the discharge of electricity into the atmosphere in the form of lightning to give spirits the extra energy they need to feed off of and manifest. I like to use movie analogies when I talk about the paranormal because it makes things easier for people to relate to. I'm a cinephile. I don't know if I'm saying that right. What can I say? There's a scene in Total Recall where the humans on Mars are dependent on a giant fans to keep them going. When the fans slow down, the humans get sluggish and weak, and when the fans speed up, so does life. I believe that spirits are the same way. When the weather is calm, they don't have anything to energize them, but when there's electricity in the air, they have an energy source to draw from and can manifest. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but we don't have the raw data to prove it. Yet in some places, the weather is unreliable and spirits have to find other forms of energy. Hydrolytic plants and flowing water are proven conductors of electromagnetic energy, so sites like that usually see a higher than average level of paranormal activity. The Rolling Hills Asylum in New York, which is just across the street from an electrical power plant that puts out kudos of volts of power, is one of the most active places I've ever been. We captured every form of paranormal evidence there, all in the same night. I think this plant powered more than just the local houses. Everything that contains life contains energy, and ghosts are attracted to that energy. I think they're even more dependent on energy than we are. Think about this. We are surrounded by cosmic waves. They bombard the earth every day, but we can't see or hear them. Every scientist in the world will agree that the waves are there, but they're invisible, except for one area, the high latitudes, where they collide with the magnetosphere. The magnetosphere we call the light. They create the aurora borealis, and no one can deny that it exists because it's visible to the naked eye and the conditions are right. So why can't ghosts be the same way? If let's start over this. So why can't ghosts be the same way? If they're made up of electromagnetic energy, then what weather condition causes that electromagnetic energy to strengthen? Dusk, moving water, high temperature, low humidity, solar radiation? I'm sure there's a connection, but the only way to prove it is to study the meteorological conditions that were present when every major piece of paranormal evidence was collected. Going back to do so for past events is impossible, but that could and should be a study of its own for future paranormal researchers. I would like to see every paranormal team out there start recording more weather data when they collect evidence. Maybe if we did that, we could spot trends and do real research. Maybe if we knew that 90% of the time when a ghost manifests, the humidity is below 75%, the temperature is above 60 degrees, and the time of day is between 7 and 11 p.m., then we could start doing real predictive analysis. Maybe if we knew that there was a strong coronal explosion or sunspot 90% of the time when EVPs are captured, then we could connect the two and even theorize that solar eruptions, which flood the earth with energy, give spirits the strength they need to communicate. We can't just keep walking through the darkness in isolated teams trying to bump into things. We need to make the spirits come to us, or at least use our data to predict when and where they'll be. Then people will look at paranormal investigators just like they do weather forecasters. Maybe I'll even get my own TV show. He's already got his own TV show, but that's okay. Or something similar to it. But if you like stories, so that's it for the day. So if you like books like this, you like reading books like this, and you like my channel, then like and subscribe and comment in the comments below, and press the notification button so you get notified every time I upload a video. And until next time, everybody, keep up with the creeps and be creepy. Don't be extra creepy, just be maybe a little bit creepy. Until next time, everybody.